All right, everyone. Jackson with Saints in the South here. Welcome to bonus episode number 2. It's been a couple of months since we have addressed a topic other than our standard Come Follow Me curriculum. But in this episode, Marcus, Andrew, and myself, we attempt to discuss the topic of defending our beliefs based on a talk given by Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, where he specifically talks about the need to defend our beliefs. And basically, I posed the question to Marcus and Andrew, and then we jump into the discussion there. But I hope you enjoy it. As always, be sure and subscribe on YouTube or on any of the podcast platforms. Please join in the discussion on YouTube as well as on our Facebook page, Saints in the South. And we hope you enjoy the episode. We are Saints in the South, your source for gospel growth and good times. So I got a topic for y'all, okay? I'm going to let you listen to this quote here from Elder Jeffrey R. Holland.
All right.
Okay, and talk on defending your beliefs, okay? And then we'll go from there.
With admiration and encouragement for everyone who will need to remain steadfast in these latter days, I say to all, and especially the youth of the church, that if you haven't already, you will one day find yourself called upon to defend your faith, or perhaps even endure some personal abuse, simply because you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Such moments will require both courage and courtesy on your part. Now be strong. Live the gospel faithfully, even if others around you don't live it at all. Defend your beliefs with courtesy and with compassion, but defend them.
So, defending our beliefs. So you see a lot of stuff, and I don't know if neither one of y'all are on Twitter, are you? You're on Twitter. Mm-mm. So I'm on Twitter, and on there, a whole lot. I don't do a whole lot with it, but I'll get on there and just kind of look at stuff every once in a while, and it blows my mind at how much negativity there is from members of the church, right? That I guess are on their way out, or are out of the church and so forth. Attacking the church, attacking beliefs, attacking the history of the church and everything. So my question is, and going back to Elder Holland's talk here about defending our beliefs, defending our faith and so forth. Is there a need to actively defend, or do we just simply defend when we are confronted?
Yeah, you're talking about be proactive and addressing
that's right. So getting back to kind of one of the reasons we started this podcast was to help be a positive voice, a positive commentary on the gospel of Jesus Christ, right, on the restored church and everything, to help just kind of put it out there in the airwaves. And we know that Satan's going to do everything that he can to beat down truth, right? Beat down good. And there's more and more and more of it.
Right.
So do we have a responsibility? Where does it lie? Where does it stop? And where does it start? Or vice versa on defending the Lord's church or the truth of the gospel and so forth?
That's a good question. And I don't do Twitter. I barely do Instagram. I've been on Facebook for a long time, and I've for a long time have shared a lot of stuff on Facebook, a lot of gospel things, Book of Mormon things, I've never been ashamed, and I'm not tooting my own horn here or nothing. What I'm getting at is, I don't look at things and go, ooh, is people gonna, I don't know about that one, because that's kind of, I don't want to start something. I may have had some of those thoughts before, but now I put out there, D. Todd Christofferson said this, or, Bruce R. McConkie. I mean, you get some McConkie stuff. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Neil A. Maxwell. I mean, I'll put out quotes. I'll put videos up, whatever. And over time, I can honestly say I really haven't had much negative feedback. There's been a couple of times, more than a couple, but there's been some people that have commented and,
right,
different opinions and things like that. And I think the key there is what he said. So for me, it's this: you want to be courteous. You want to be courteous, but also be firm and be courageous. You don't want to. I think it was it Quentin L. Cook? I can't remember. That also had a talk on this about how to defend ourselves. And it's important, even on social media. It's important. If somebody's put out an anti thing out there, or something that's wrong that know's wrong, it's fine to get under there and comment and say, this is not right, and this is what I believe, and this. But you do it in a courteous way. You don't do it it's easy to do it out of anger. But if we can come at it from a point of hopefully instruction, or trying to get the truth out, But so really, so this is the way I look at it. I put out good stuff. I share things. I share my testimony, whatever, and I don't do any defending unless they attack it.
Attack you, right?
Attack that certain thing that I put out.
Right.
I don't really go into comments and look for things. I just don't go off looking much, to see and to make sure that I can get in there and combat somebody. I don't like contention. The Lord doesn't like contention. But having said that, if it's something that you need to address, you need to address it. You need to
stand firm on
it. I guess that's kind of the way I am. That's for me personally.
What you think? Any thoughts on that?
Let's go to a personal level. Some of that what Marcus said, I agree. I mean, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
But you're out in the social world. You're not actually seeing what everyone's, unless they purposely reply back.
Right.
But let's take it to a personal level. Let's say the stake presidency. We serve on the High Council.
Right.
Stake presidency asks us to do so. I don't want to give an example.
Yeah, just something.
But something.
Yeah.
We're at church, and you hear some of your family members or somebody, and they start trash talking.
Right.
Man, we really doing this?
Right.
As a high counselor, do you stand up, or are you scared of confrontation then? Are you scared of, well, you know what, I don't want to say anything.
Right.
That state president said that, but, I guess I'll support them. Or so at a personal level, at a personal stake level, do you still, I'm just asking.
That's a good
that's a good point.
That's a good way.
Are you representing, because that's a hard situation, because you might be
scared
because you're in front of your friend.
Yeah, or maybe even in front of somebody that you hold in high regard, and maybe they're doing it also.
They're doing it, and then
and you're just like, oh wait, what do I do here? Like, do I ruffle feathers now? Am I going to be that guy?
Walk away,
right?
Or do you as a representative
of the stake and the stake president?
Yeah, in that position.
Say, hey, we don't. You stand up for what the stake president.
So that's a good point. I've actually had an experience with that, and I'm glad to say that I did stand up for that. But it was something that when I was in the bishopric, I guess I was I'm the friendly guy. I'm the guy that talks to everybody in the ward. And on a level, with some of my obviously a lot of family in our ward and things like that. But so the bishop puts out something, or perhaps not even the bishop really, but how it was with all the mask mandates and things like that. And there were people that approached me. They wouldn't approach the bishop or the other counselor. They would approach me because they were so close to me. Right. And so that's the reason they approached me. But so they approached me and said, that is crazy now. I don't know why we're doing such and such and this and that. And many times I'd tell them, I'd be like, well, I said, it may seem crazy. I said, but this is coming from, the prophet, and this is going down through the chain of command. I said, this is, and so we do promise that we will follow the prophet or whatever it was. And I'm not saying it was a mass mandate or whatever. I can't remember, but it was something specific, something that happened. But I remember having to sort of explain it to him, but I did it in a way where it didn't feel like I was like, okay, I'm finna punch you in the face. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that.
There's definitely a way to be bold.
You really do. I think that's one of the biggest things is how do you deliver your message? You know, how are you tactful? I think the courteous thing, you know, Jeffrey Hollands saying, be courteous, but be courageous.
Right. Some
be tactful, you know.
Because people are very passionate.
Yes, they are already passionate if they're saying what they're saying.
Yeah, they're saying so, and sometimes the way they deliver it might not be the best, but their intent's good.
Yeah.
But you're walking in the hall and you're like, well, because I don't like confrontation, because I don't like argue.
That's true.
I'm just not going to say anything.
That's true.
I'm not going to say things. So where's that line? You know?
And I don't want to. And I don't want to sound like I'm Mr. Pert, because there has been times that I'd say I'm not dealing with that. I'm just going to move. I'm going to move along.
I try and stay away from contention as much as possible.
Yeah. I really do.
I don't like it.
I don't like contention either. I really hate contention.
I do too.
I hate it, but at the same time,
there becomes that responsibility.
There's a responsibility with your calling, and I know with my calling right now, sometimes I hear it from different directions, and it's like it's so easy to take that person's side. But if you're representing, it's easier than said and done. So
for a lot of things.
So one thing I'm trying to learn is something we hear all the time, the 4-letter word, love. Love. We could go back 20 years from now on what some of the leaders of the church were doing, and now all you keep on hearing now is just love the people. Love the people. Yes, everybody knows their weaknesses. Everybody knows man marries a woman marries a man, but do you just purposely now just put it in, just be mean about it, bold about it? I don't know. So
that's good. So speaking of the word love, I was actually listening to a podcast earlier this week on I think Order of Man, but he interviewed Tim Tebow.
Oh, okay.
And Tim Tebow gave a very interesting definition of love. He says love doesn't necessarily come down to just a feeling, right, of an emotional feeling towards someone. He said, but more often than not, it's a choice, and that's where that choice comes in. You can choose how you respond to something or your action towards something or towards somebody because you are acting in love, and it comes down to basically a choice in how you act. I think in defending truth and so forth, there's an approach of adding fuel to the fire, right, or bringing an extinguisher, to the fire,
right,
and so
or at least containing it. I mean, you're bringing up this fire thing, and my father-in-law works with the forestry, but I think about that too. Plowing the fire break around it.
That's right.
At least I'm going to hold you in there because a lot of people ain't going to change their mind. They're dead set, and they've done their research, whatever. And they feel very passionate about it, and they feel they really believe that. And so you got to go into this thing knowing that, I'm not going to just 180 these guys. And, a lot of times, a lot of people come out of it with confusion. They're when they go into an argument, they may be confused. And sometimes they will be like, oh, okay, I haven't thought about it that way. Those are people that are sort of rational. Yeah, those are rational.
We might be confused too. So that's the thing too.
And that's a good point. You got to be. Anytime you go to battle, make sure you're prepared to go to battle. I will say if it's a subject I'm not 100% on, I will say it. I'll be like, look, I don't understand it 100%.
Have you ever admitted you're wrong?
Huh?
Have you ever admitted you're wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I'm married, ain't I? You got to.
It's a choice.
You better do it. I mean, you're wrong whether you are or not. I mean, sometimes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? No, but yeah, absolutely. I have had to go back and say, oh, you know what? I did have that wrong. I'm sorry. I messed that up. You were right on that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I think we talk about contention as if it's either we need to be contentious or not. It's not. We should never be contentious. Even though someone is being contentious, trying to be contentious with us, we can easily have a discussion. We don't have to have an argument with those people. Sometimes it's just as simple as I bear my testimony, and I don't mean like I'd like to bear my testimony. I'm just saying sometimes you just state your truth and what you know to be true, and that's all you can do. This is where I'm standing. At least I'm just going to let you know that's where I stand. And have a nice day. That's it. That's all you can do. At the end of the day, you're hoping that person will, give you a Heimlich maneuver if you're choking. You know what I'm saying. When it boils down to those kind of situations, you don't want to make enemies out there. I mean, but some people, I will say this also. Some people are just contentious just to be contentious, and they just do it just to do it. And I know you can feel those people out sometimes. That are just there. They just exactly. They just want to get a rise out of you. They just want to poke you in the side over and over and over. And it's just like, and those kind of people, you just have to say, you know what, man, you can't get through to those people. I mean, it's just so you just kind of walk away. You tell them what you believe or whatever this, and then you say, all right, you go do what you're doing or whatever. But
so some places I used to work, people would try to get a rise out of me.
Oh yeah,
and so therefore, inside I was so passionate that I wanted just to get mad, but then I had to look. Yeah, I had to look 1 hour later. Had to look 2 days later, 2 weeks
10 years later.
Yeah, with these people, it's like, you know what? I just have to smile and just be happy.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's and after so much time, I think it benefited because I used to see other people that didn't do that I learned from, and it didn't turn out too well. So, but then I knew times when people would legit really would want to talk and have a question.
Yeah,
Right.
and
I
you could
would
tell.
reply back.
You could tell those times. You can tell those times. It's harder on social media because you don't know who you're talking to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in person, it does become, to me, it seems a little easier because you're like, I can tell where you're coming from.
Yeah, and
you're genuinely interested in what I'm believing.
Yeah.
They may come out at a funny way or trying to make fun of you or something, but you can tell that, okay, I think you really do want to know about this.
Yeah.
And I've even said that before. Like, do you really want to know what I believe?
Yeah.
I mean, when they're doing that poking fun and stuff like that, and of course they'd be like, oh, I mean, not really. It's like, okay, cool. If you and literally, I told myself, well, if you do, just let me know.
Yeah, let me know. That's right.
But, and then you never hear nothing else from those people.
But what's funny?
But
not funny, but
kind of funny.
Kind of funny. I'll be sitting there and like, man, I just want to. I don't know what I want to do right now, but you get mad inside that then you'll have some old dude that beside you be like, you better watch out for I whip your tail or so. You don't be talking about.
Tell them the story.
So taking up for you.
Yeah, taking up for him.
Yeah.
You did,
Rockwell over here beside me.
No, really. Tell that story about the member of the church that he quit. He doesn't work out there anymore.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to mention names. I don't really want to mention names.
There was a few times I don't know exactly.
And he's a member of the church, but he didn't go.
Yeah, we call him old Porter Rockwell. But there'd be at times. One time particularly, people were making fun of me like.
Mormon this, and that,
yeah. And they didn't know this dude.
Right. So, hold on a second. So we got grown men.
Yeah, these are grown men.
Men
absolutely.
And they're making fun of you because of your religion, like
absolutely, dude.
Yeah, I'm thinking, dude, really? I mean, I thought I left 8th grade.
Right,
you know what I mean?
That's exactly. That's true.
So their whole time, and this other dude who's a pretty cool dude, but just wasn't active at the time.
To set it up, just say this dude is good. Like he's on their level as far as worldly, the drinking, the smoking, the cussing, whatever, and just they hang out on whatever and probably good friends or whatever. So they're all making fun of Andrew and he's standing there with them. So
and I'm just sitting there, just kind of smiling deep, inside I want to explode.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then he basically just cussed everybody out.
He said, I'm one too. He said, y'all keep saying that, and they were like, what? Like they didn't even know, I just thought it was it was very cool. I thought,
and he approached me afterwards. He said, "You just gonna have to cuss somebody out." I was thinking, well,
maybe not cuss, but
hey, listen. Sometimes you want to, man. You want to have them words come out.
Hey, I look up to the Porter Rockwell sometimes.
Yeah, right,
absolutely.
Right.
Rough around
maybe there's a time for Porter Rockwell every now and then. No, I don't know. Yeah.
But anyways, But I always go back to the love, LOVE. I know that's kind of a generic answer, but smiling, being happy, and just that means a lot.
Who's our exemplar? I mean, it's Jesus Christ. Yeah. Did he contend with people? Yeah, he contended. And when I say contend, he really didn't contend with people. He pretty much just squashed it, pretty quick. But there was time, money exchangers. He goes in and throws it around. Hey, y'all get out. I've told y'all before.
Right.
This is it.
So and there's time to be.
But in that instance, it still wasn't inappropriate for the because this was something that he'd been telling them over and over. Y'all got to. This is my father's house. This is a temple. What are y'all doing? And it just weren't never listened to. And finally, it was like, okay, now you're going to be put out. I'm going to put you out if you're not going to. So. Yeah, there's every situation is different. There's no one cookie cutter way, but if you wanted to put the overall arch over all of it, it's like Andrew's saying, you put that love. You try to be an example of the Savior in some way, but every situation is different.
Right.
And that don't make it easy. I mean, every situation is. Some people's easy to talk to. Some people's very difficult. You can't talk to them. You just walk away. Really.
So to reply back on what you were saying about. Like on Twitter or whatever.
Right.
That's hard for me.
I know someone pretty close to who would reply back, and then if the other person replied back terribly,
then he
would just kind of stop it, but he would say, "Okay, I love you" or something.
Right.
And it's hard to
that.
It's hard.
Yeah. Well, you don't even know who they are.
I'm definitely more willing to engage in a civil conversation with you, but if you start personal attacks, name calling, threats, things like that, stupid stuff, then okay, obviously we can't have a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's on and on and on. I've even got a family member that is like, Joseph Smith done this, blah blah blah, and he puts down all this information, and then I have to go in there. Well, actually, this right here is blah 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 blah, and I'll be honest with you. It would go on for weeks because this person loves it, loves it, and I'm thinking, I don't love this. This is spinning wheels. We're spinning wheels all day right here.
Not getting anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, I always say, you have your opinion, I have mine, and that's it. Right. And that's all you can do. And but a lot of people do it honestly just to feel validated. Look, when people leave the church, they want to feel validated that they did it. And if you ever notice the overall, I won't say it's for everybody because everybody's different, but the majority that leave the church, they want to announce it as the great liberating experience of their lifetime.
Right.
That's number one. And the other is to validate it as much as they can. So any little discretion, any little mistake, any little, boys, it is number one headline that they will pounce on. And it's like, okay, so they're looking for that validation, and so
Yep. So like, for example, on Twitter, you've seen over the last year, 2 years, I mean, they're actually calling it like the Mormon purge.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just like everybody and their brothers,
true.
They're leaving the church and they're announcing it. Right.
Yeah.
As soon as that first person did it publicly.
Oh yeah.
Right, and announced it, then that gave that courage, false courage, however you want to refer to it, for somebody else. So if they can do it, I can do it, and then it just starts going one after another, more and more.
This is why these ain't just, these are like,
these are state presidents, these are bishops,
these are people that's been around the block,
right?
So these are area authorities. I mean, there's it's not just.
Which in reality,
it's not people like just regular.
And to tell you the truth, that hasn't hit down. I say it hadn't hit down here in the South. I think
it's starting.
It's starting, but I do think. I know I have my.
It makes sense though that it's these higher up people. It makes sense if you think about it. That's the one Satan's after anyway.
Right.
He wants the elites, and actually, if you read the scriptures, it says that the very elite will be deceived.
Right.
And so you think, well, why wouldn't it be just Joe Blow that comes to church twice a year? That that dude's already got. I mean, and I hate saying that, but it's true. He's not even worried about going to church very often. So Satan's not as hard on that guy as he is the stake president for 15 years. Now let's take this guy down, and so which is a warning to all of us.
Should be a warning. Yeah, absolutely.
We need to be careful that none of us are safe. I mean, as far as just. I don't have to do anything to, I'll just be fine. I'm just here floating along. I think that's the great call today is, when we're gathering Israel and we're trying to do these things, the great call for us is to wake up and be active, be proactive in the gospel. Don't just sit around waiting for the next instruction sometimes.
Right.
Because you can all of a sudden get swept away because it didn't come.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, the Lord don't care about me, or I don't know what to do anyway, so I'm just going to whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it boils down to what are you really looking for? What are you desiring, you know? And so that's the cool thing. It's easy for us mortals to look at these people and judge them a certain way and say, well, you're not going to make, I mean, we don't know exactly what they're going through or whatever. And so the Lord bases, and of course our judgment is based upon our heart's desires, our background, what we've learned, you know, all those things. So we're not all going to get the same judgment. Right. I mean, it's just impossible. Even though we both served missions or we've both been through the temple, whatever, our judgments will be different. You'll be judged a little differently than me, perhaps because of whatever happened in our backgrounds or how we were raised or the area we were raised or whatever. I don't know. And I'm not saying that one's going to go lenient than the other or something. I don't know. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So everything, it's the only thing that's black and white is the gospel. That's the only thing as far as like what the doctrine is. That's the only thing that's black and white that stays solid, and it's great because it has to. The doctrine has to stay solid. If not, we don't have nothing anchored to. So, but all the circumstances around and the people and things like that, varies. And so
what people
we have to be conscious of that sometimes. And so when we are arguing with some, or whatever you want to call it, arguing, talking, discussing, whatever, you have to keep those things in mind about where's this person coming from. They may have had a terrible experience at the temple or at, you know, a family reunion that happened, a bishop that, you know, cussed them out behind the shed over there or something. I mean, we don't know. So you just have to come at it with, this is doctrine and this is what I believe and I love you, and whatever, if you ever want to really discuss or whatever.
So what I said earlier, by no means am I judging.
No. And I didn't feel that from you when you were saying that. No,
because I know some people who just struggle.
They absolutely struggle.
But
you talking about the comment about like who's leaving, like you talking about like the state presidents? Is that what you're talking about not judging?
That when I say judging, again, we just don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's something that's new that we're seeing, especially with the social media, because everybody who wants to be on social media can access everything that's going on, right?
Well, the church did. Yeah, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Boyd K. Packer, McConkie, they did. Joseph Field and Smith did a really good job. I'll use the verb to hide. A lot of things, it was kind of a cookie cutter or cookie, just this orthodox type Mormon life we live. But in reality, there's some history that we can't explain. I'm polyandry. There's no. I haven't heard a good explanation why Joseph Smith married some of the women he married that were still married to other men. Right. There's no one who's explained that to me.
Right.
That just makes, and you're like, well, that didn't happen. Yes, it did happen. The church that happened. That you can. It's just gospel talk. Essay it up. It's happened. So what I'm getting to is, so you get some people like, really that, and then they start struggling.
Yeah. And
then it's like, okay, well, you know, I kind of get why you're struggling, but you have to go back to what I always go back to, that YouTube video I did. These were days never to be forgotten. Oliver Cowdery. You got to remember when you felt the Spirit. You know that, yes, and even Oliver Cowdery caught Joseph Smith with Fanny Alger, called a dirty, filthy affair. Well, he didn't catch, but he called a dirty, filthy affair, and that's part of the reason why he left. I had to put it in that video.
Right. Yeah.
But Oliver Cowdery did come back. He never did deny John the Baptist, the priestess. So I always reflect and have to go back. my testimony, how it was molded, how it was.
Yeah.
What I guess by me saying all that stuff, some people just struggle. They
Right,
struggle.
absolutely.
Yeah, and how many people didn't want to believe in Abraham or follow him after they found out that he was actually going to kill his son?
Yes.
Right.
For real? He really took him up there to sacrifice? Was he crazy?
Right,
I'm
right.
not following that cat. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So there's just, we don't know why the Lord told him to do that specifically. He hadn't asked any other prophet that we know of to do that.
Right.
I don't know.
So,
I mean, but you have to go to your basics. You have to go to the foundation.
Foundation.
The actual truths that matter, honestly. But no, and I've heard Christians say that, like, oh, there's no way Jesus Christ went in there and did that. This probably means that he did so and so. Well, he did do it. This was, he threw over the tables. He yelled at people and told them to get out. And I mean, this is the same man that brought on the plagues to the Egyptians. I mean,
right.
So yeah. I mean, there are, like we've discussed. There's times. Obviously now we're talking about the man that will judge us. He can do. He's
right.
God. I mean, so we can't say that we're going to do the exact same things he did every time. But what I'm getting to is that, yeah, there's trivia in all things. Why? Because people are people. We're imperfect. The gospel's, that's what I'm saying. The gospel is solid. The doctrine is there, but the people are not solid, and we have to be careful what we want to run with, because like we could look into that polyandry, stuff, and is it polyandry? I didn't say it right, did I?
It's polyandry, but again, by me saying that,
but what I'm saying is this is like a trivia thing, and yeah, did it happen? Sure, it happened, but I can't base my life on that because I haven't been asked to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why Joseph Smith was asked to do that. Maybe it was just to see how people would react in the future. I don't know. I mean, we don't know but we do know we're here to be tested, and everybody's different, and everybody be tested differently, and everybody be judged differently.
I tell you this, as I've gotten older the last few years, I do less judging.
Because there's some crazy things. We're reading 100%. It now in the Old Testament. There's
I do
way
less judging. I don't think
because we don't know. We don't know, man.
Listen, I promise you, I believe that there will be more mercy applied
absolutely
than judgment. Is that right?
Yeah, mercy and justice.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I believe there will be more mercy applied than justice. Mercy. We know with the law of mercy and the law of justice, the law of mercy fulfills. The law of justice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes it over.
I mean, you see the scales all the time.
Right.
Let's be honest. I mean, it's mercies like this. I mean,
right.
there's some justice there, absolutely, that needs to happen.
That's right.
But
Justice
the Lord is very merciful.
Right.
Justice
very
for all.
merciful.
That's right. Just for all.
There's and Metallica's back in it. So no, but the justice is there to teach and to the justice is like the doctrine. It's like it's there. I mean, it's something there that we have to have that keeps us where we know that it's a point. It's a point to know that where we're supposed to be.
Right. Yep.
And then the mercy is there to he's behind us saying, okay, let's go. You can make it. Let's get there. Yeah, you're right, man. I believe it. The more I read, mercy is just
mercy's big, ain't it?
My goodness. I mean, it's
and I'm so thankful for mercy.
Oh my goodness.
I know you weren't ready to hear all this.
No, this is great. Hey, so just kind of bringing it back in. So the idea behind all this is that there are people out there that struggle, and so for those people that are on social media, and they see the piling on and the people leaving the church, and for whatever reasons, then they start questioning themselves. So my thought process and the goal is to put some defense out there, to get some solid foundations out there for people to be able to see and listen to and draw upon and say, okay, I understand what these guys are saying. I'm gonna go with what they're saying, versus listening to all the naysayers and everything. So basically, taking a proactive approach in defending, not necessarily going and attacking people, but we can take different topics and address them and put it out there.
And whatever knowledge we have, we can share is great as long as it's backed up by doctrine.
That's
we got to be careful.
That's right.
Like as you said, don't go into a battle. You can't go into a battle, and you don't really want to call it a battle because we're really not there to battle these people. You're there to, you're there to defend, and you're there to whatever. But
what's the scripture that we fight not against flesh and
Yeah.
blood, but we are fighting against the darkness and
Yeah,
whatever
evil-
that scripture
evil or whatever.
is.
Yeah,
Evil
I know
and
what you're
stuff.
talking about, yeah.
That's essentially
Yeah.
what we're doing
And-
and going after.
and being willing to do it.
That's right.
I think willingness. I gave a talk about going to the importance of going to temples, doing what do we need to be able to get our temple recommends, and two words came to my mind as I pondered that, and one is to be willing, one is to be worthy, to be able to enter temple. And really, that's with anything in life, callings. Being ready to do things, you got to be willing and you got to be worthy. The Lord wants you to be willing and worthy. Well, we know Brad Wilcox said worthiness is not flawlessness, so we don't have to be perfect. But also willingness doesn't mean we have to be experts in everything.
That's right.
Having said that, do study. Study and learn from good things. Learn from good, sound things, sound doctrine things that you can do. I mean, it's easy to get into these arguments about the polyandry and stuff like that. I don't know enough about it. I'm not going to say, well, actually, Brigham Young said such and such about that this happened or that, and I don't know. I don't really know, and honestly, I don't really care. That's my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion now.
Right.
I really couldn't care less about all the polygamy and stuff like that. It's just not happening today, so I'm not going to worry myself with it from 100 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my personal opinion. I'm not making it light for other people. That could be a really solid, hard thing for people.
But we can't pretend it didn't happen either.
Yeah, no, you don't
it
pretend
is, it is part of our history.
But
Yeah,
Marcus,
it's part of history.
but Marcus is doing what is best for Marcus.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
his
for me.
testimony
Yeah,
and his foundation.
Yeah, there you go.
good
That's
and
that's
everything
a good
stuff.
point.
So
That's what I'm saying. We're all
Valid
different.
point there, yeah.
We're all different. We're all different. That's how we do things, But somebody wants to tell me or attack me personally about polygamy. I'm going to tell them what I can tell them about it. I'm not going to be like, well, I don't know if that happened, or that. I'm going to say, yeah, it actually happened. We don't do it anymore.
Right.
That's for whatever reason it was done in the Old Testament, and it was done then too. And it was just something that was done to restore. All the things of the gospel or whatever, and you just try to, and then that's it. That's all I can tell them. So there's no point in me in starting to just let's go at it, boys. I mean, that's all I can tell you, and I can try to find more information. Or here's this book you can look at if you want to about it, or whatever. I don't know. That's just me. You want to talk about the plan of salvation? That's pretty cool. I can tell you about that. I mean, I know that pretty good. I mean, I'm not a perfect person in plan, but you know what I'm saying.
That's right.
But so that's the kind of thing I look at.
Well, there you go.
Speak truth.
Yeah, that's right.
And be bold, but be courteous, because and courteous is a good word, because like you say, we don't know these people's background. We don't know what they've been through. We don't know what they've been through. They might have been taught pure false doctrine from a member of the church for years and years. I don't know. We don't know what they went through. So,
Well, there you go. Saints in the South, defenders of truth.
Defenders of truth, doing the best we can.
That's
guys.
right.
All we can do.
Until next time, y'all keep on striving. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like to follow us on social media, you can do that through Instagram and Facebook at Saints in the South. A great place to join in the discussion would be our podcast group page on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter, Saints in the South, at 5 Southern Saints. And then, of course, on YouTube, hit the like button, notification bell. And if you're not already, be sure and subscribe. And then finally, you can check us out through our website, saintsinthesouth.com, where you can have access to all the podcast and YouTube videos. And then we would love for you to take the opportunity and leave us a review and rating. Thanks again for all of your support, and we will see you next time.